Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Hey everybody, what's up? Fat people that race trophy trucks are behind the camera. This is the number 31. You guys all saw this. Fish was, I heard the fish rubbed all over this thing at testing. Had to touch every corner. And everybody caught him sitting inside the truck. Not cool. But as you can guess, if we have the 31, that means that Tenbrook's around probably. But more importantly, this guy's around. Andy McMillin.
What's going down?
Hey Andy, how are you?
I'm good.
You good? Hold
on. Not used to being where I'm at, so it's kind of different, but it's cool. I'll take it.
Yeah, no, so I mean, I think that everybody's really excited for you having a new truck, but I think more importantly, as a racer myself, I think it's so important for our industry to have the best and the brightest out racing. And even though my job is to beat you, and I really would like to. Yeah. We were just talking about that battle at the Mint 400 a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But it's an honor to have you in the desert with us, because that's what's important, and the McMillin name is so massive. So I don't want to rain too many accolades on you too quickly, but I'm stoked to have you back, and it's really cool to see you qualified first, even though, like I said, the rest of us would much rather you weren't there.
Usually I'm on your same page, because usually it's all the other dicks that are qualifying first through 10th, and I'm back there a little bit. But no, we had a good run. I really wasn't expecting, that straight out of the box. But we're excited. The Mason guys are excited. Quite a statement to come out and just stomp on it and put it up on top P1 for the race tomorrow. I haven't started first at a race since 2009, so it's been a couple moons, been a couple laps around the sun since that's happened. So I didn't do the pre-run. My co-driver came, said it was pretty dusty out there. Haven't had any rain, so hopefully it's a pretty big advantage. And for once, I'm praying for no wind on race day because I'm out front.
The only time I remember starting first, it rained.
That's not
for me. That's
not
not
good.
For sure. So anyway,
one lucky time and you get hosed.
Yeah, so Fish is going to be spreading this all over the internet, so be careful, Andy. But like I said, we're stoked to have you out here. Let's talk a little bit about, there was a lot of talk during testing. There's been a lot of hype around it. Let's talk about the attributes of the truck a little bit, because everybody, I think, whether it's the Geyser or the Herbst or the Tisco or the Racer, whoever it is, everybody has its own little thing that maybe it does better than everybody else. Sure. I don't know if you want to divulge what you think yours does better, but what are the exciting parts for you about the truck? Like, what really, besides the shocks, because I know Tenbrook's standing behind us, and I know he's going to claim the best part about the truck is the shocks.
Not true.
It's not. He says not true. But other than having to deal with Todd, he's obviously pretty awesome. But what do you think the best attributes of the truck are? Now that you've raced it, it's so different testing versus actually getting out and driving it in a race course.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say. All the trucks that I've driven and had the pleasure of driving are really good trucks. They're really well built. Each one has its own, certain characteristics that, some things it likes, some things that it doesn't like. This truck in particular is just very well balanced. It's just very, very neutral. It's really predictable. I sit pretty low in it, so on the short course stuff out here yesterday, I felt really comfortable, really planted to the ground. I think one of the biggest things that a lot of people, it goes on behind the scenes, and a lot of people don't know, is all the drivetrain components and the electronics and stuff being in sync. Everything from the engine, the transmission, the gearing in the transmission, the underdrive gearing, the ring and pinion, all that stuff. There's a lot of moving components, a lot of stuff going on, and everything has to be just perfect. So it's a combination of driver feel, but also dialogue between the engine builder, the transmission builder, Neil Mason and Robert Mason, the guys who build the truck. Getting James Lynn on the data, telling us, what gear is fast, what gear is slow, where are we lacking, where can we pick up. So there's a lot more that goes into making these things go and go fast than just me pushing on the skinny pedal and just and holding on for dear life. But yeah, it's just a great opportunity to be out here racing. I'm very fortunate. Thanks to you for getting behind the camera and doing your thing. I'm looking forward to hopefully we can battle some on Saturday. Maybe not too close, but have you there a little bit.
I plan on sneaking up on you guys a little bit.
Yeah, it's just great to be out here. Great to be alive and just living, having fun with my family and friends, and off-road racing. What can be better?
Yeah, I was talking about it, and I'm sure you have a lot of reflections on this. I considered just retiring right there at the finish line of the Baja 1000. I'm sure people that know me could see it in my face a little bit, and as my daughter sat on my lap, you know, I thought about all the experiences that I lived through as a kid with my family, desert racing, and I was like, man, I really want to be able to share that with her. I'm sure that there's a lot of excitement for you with that. I mean, obviously your dad is one of the baddest off-road racers of all time, but it must be so cool to share with him. But at the same time, it's going to be something really cool to be able to share with the rest of your family as they grow up.
Absolutely. It's I came up in this sport, family sport. You know, my family grew up going to the sand dunes, rented a friend's car to go race the Baja 1000 in 1976. Here we are, you know, 42 years later, 52 years later. How many years ago is that?
Long time.
I'm not that good at math. I just can drive well. But yeah, you know, it's a big family sport. You know, the Off-Road Desert community is one big family. Wouldn't have it any other way. Just you know, blessed and lucky to be out here racing these big old expensive fancy machines. Got the sponsors helping me out. Couldn't do it without them, and all the fans watching, and you know, making this sport what it is. So you know, we really appreciate all the support we get from everyone.
Well, it's really cool to see some of the real young energy or younger energy, yourself, and right behind you, Harley Lettner, a couple of couple of legends, their families in the sport for a long time. I mean, what do you think? I mean, there's a lot of talk. I mean, people are excited about Harley qualifying second. And granted, he is an amazing driver. I know when this track gets rough, it's going to be a little bit more of a truck track later in the race. But Harley's quick. I mean, how do you position that? What do you think about that with him being on the line, second row behind you?
Dude is a wheelman.
He's 100%.
That's the only way I can really put it. You know, when I first got into the sport, Harley and Corey were racing Class 10, I believe. And they were some crazy dudes. I used to get all the Baja videos from 4 days and all that, and I'd watch them, and those guys come through hitting stuff and all over the place. Those guys can wheel the car for sure. But yeah, you know, the course out here being a loop race, the morning race goes first, we go in the afternoon, it gets really torn up. You know, last year Harley was out front leading the thing until Rob put a late pass on him in the end of the second lap. But he was holding his own, holding the pace. He's a talented guy. You know, if the car holds together, you never know what can happen. That's what's awesome about desert racing. You know, the track is always changing, stuff's always happening. Flat tires, you know, broken drivetrain components, rollovers. Anything can and will happen. It's just, will it happen to you or not? So that's why we do this, and we'll find out tomorrow.
With 40 trucks, I mean, there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of people that are gunning for that top spot. Do you feel the pressure ever? I mean, you're one of the most humble guys, obviously, when we talk to you. We all try to have our race face on when it's race time, but you're always so pleasant and laughing. And do you ever feel the pressure? Do you feel the pressure being the first off the line?
I feel, you know, I felt a lot of pressure going into qualifying just because of the change in program and, you know, coming out with a new thing, leaving something that was really successful for me, you know, leading the Baja 1000 until we had an engine mishap. And so there was a lot of, you know, questions. Why is he doing that? You know, I read all that stuff. I'm on the internet. I'm not stupid. I'm a young kid, and I read all the comments, and you know, I actually like it because it gets me going, and it kind of just fuels the fire inside me to want to go and perform and just let my driving do the talking. And so you know, thanks to you guys for raising all those concerns and saying that stuff, because it really pushes me. So I really appreciate it, actually. But yeah, I just, you know, I let my driving do the talking. I love having fun out here racing. I just do what I can do. You know, whatever happens. I don't. There's some pressure I put on myself, you know, more than other people probably put on me, as a lot of people probably are. I hold myself, you know, to a high level to perform and do well. So probably most of the pressure I just put on myself. But once the green flag drops and you hit the power and you're out on the race course, you know, instincts kick in and you just do what you do. So there's some anxiety and there's some stuff, you know, being on the pole and wanting to do good and not let people down. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm just out here to have fun. I want to win the race. I want to be safe and get home in one piece to my family and come back for the next one.
A lot of it can be mental too. I mean, I know you're a strong proponent of working out. I like to spend time in the gym, obviously not as fit as you, but I'm working on it. But you know, the mental game, being in shape, but also the brand new truck, that mental game, solid family. I mean, it seems like everything's clicking for you, man.
Yeah.
It seems like you're in a really good spot.
I am, you know, with my family. You know, I got a son on the way. He's due next month. Life's just good, man, and you know, when everything's lining up and everything's clicking, and on the racetrack, off the racetrack, you know, at business and work, you know, with your friends, and you're just in a good spot in life. I think it really shows, you know, on the racetrack, because there's a lot of distractions out there, like you said, mentally. So if you can kind of tune that stuff out and just concentrate on the race and putting your whole heart and soul into that and trying to win the race, that makes a huge difference. And it's draining out there. You know, a lot of concentration for 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 hours of racing. It really gets to you mentally and physically. And I try to keep myself in somewhat decent shape. I'm not the most fit guy out there, but when I do work out and I go and do that, I feel better about myself. It gives myself some confidence. And any edge you can get over the competitors, you take it, because there's a lot of good drivers out there.
For sure. I wanted to ask you too about your hat. That's obviously a very prominent sponsor, and I might not be totally in the loop as we have a 10 car going by in the background over there, but I know you were with Red Bull for a number of years. You kind of took the baton from Robbie at one point, more or less. Robbie went off to do his own thing, and you became the Red Bull guy.
Yeah.
And how long have you been back in the hat now, and what's the situation there?
So thank you, by the way.
Yeah, congratulations.
The Red Bull thing came about just before the 500 last year, which we were able to win. So that was a cool way to come back.
Nice bonus
to the Red Bull family. But yeah, in 2006, I raced with Robbie, and he was all Red Bull, and then his deal came apart, and he went to Monster, and there was an opening at Red Bull. So me and Matt Martelli, Mad Media Boy back in the day, he was helping represent me, and we went up to Red Bull and met with him and got me that deal. And I was 19 years old, lots of pressure, big brand, big shoes to fill, and we really didn't perform well. The pressure was getting to me, didn't know how to handle it. I was a young kid, I was immature, and I just didn't think it was the right fit at the time for me, at that point. And I kind of felt like I was letting them down as the brand, and I just wasn't fulfilling, my end of the bargain. So I kind of squashed the Red Bull deal myself. They didn't walk away. I just kind of said, hey, I need to take some time. I got to do my own thing. I got to rethink things here. And that kind of what led to me coming back as a part of the brand, because, if you leave a brand and you kind of talk smack about it and you're not respectful, which isn't me, but, they're not going to come back in the future and hook you up with another deal. So it just kind of worked out. So yeah, I'm back a part of the Red Bull family. It's just an athlete-only deal, so it's a hat and helmet. But it's awesome, the support those guys give me, not just with the product and helping me get to the finish line, but just the kind of people that they are and the relationship I have with Michael Gibbs over there at Red Bull. It's really special. It's a lot different than it was the last time I was there. Much more personal and one-on-one. So it was just a really good fit, and I'm happy to support it. And hopefully we can put them on top of the Pox here tomorrow as well.
Yeah, well, we wish you most luck. Not all of it.
Some luck.
We'll take a little bit of luck from you if we can.
I'll take a little bit of luck. I appreciate that.
We really appreciate the time you're spending here on Fishgistics.
Sure.
I know that Fish is stoked, and we're just out here, a couple guys talking. What's the future hold for Andy McMillin? Are we talking about the entire Best in the Desert season? Are we talking about a hybrid like most of us have been doing, picking the big races? Or
yeah, it's going to be a hybrid. My son's due right around the mid 400, so that one's been a tough sell on the wife to allow me to commit to that one all the way. So probably go to San Felipe instead of that one, with my son on the way, and just not wanting to chance things and be with her, because I'm a big proponent of family. I'm here because of my family, and my parents instilled that in me. So it's always family first before racing. So I got to get my priorities in check, make sure I'm there for Mama Bear when baby comes. But yeah, just do the big ones. After San Felipe, go to the 500, Vegas to Reno. And then wrap it up at 1,000 and try to put another one of those ones on my belts. Try to get the going for the record of 6 for the four-wheel vehicles. I got halfway there last year. As most cool guys say, I was leading until whatever. So that was me last year.
The $3 part. What was it? I don't think that
it was something internal in the motor that it got hurt about mile 150. It was backfiring on me off the start. I knew something was kind of weird, but it ran pretty good. And then mile 160 off the lake bed, it got really hot. And something happened to one of the pistons inside. It started running on 7 cylinders and then went down to 6. And then Tavo got in. And right before Tavo got in, it changed pitch on me. Literally in the same spot where it happened to Rob. I was talking to him at qualifying. And, first 2 trucks within like 3 miles of each other, boom, both out of the race with a blown motor. That's racing. That happens.
Did you feel bad for Tavo?
I felt horrible. I mean, that's the worst. He spent, time and money down there pre-running, learning his section, and I had a great time. My 540 miles that I went and leading the race first on the road doesn't get much better than that. and then he went like 8 or 10 miles and lost oil pressure. So it was a bummer, but I told Tavo, I was texting him that night, dude, I feel so bad. He's like, hey man, it's racing. Like, it happens. Happened to me before. I've done it to people. You can't predict the future, and come back stronger at the next one. So looking forward to this next Baja 1000 for sure.
Right on. Aren't we all? A little redemption, right? And
Always redemption.
Even if you won the last one, you want to get it again, right?
Absolutely.
Too bad we can't race the Baja 1000 3 times a year.
I really wish we could. I think we could, like a 2-day stage race for like the 500. That'd be really cool. Somewhere down and back. I don't know. I think we could do some cool stuff. You gotta talk to those guys over there and see what we can do.
I would be a huge proponent of a staged race on the peninsula. Leave the Baja 1000, the Baja 1000.
Right.
But let's do another race that's staged and has the capabilities of being something a little different.
Absolutely.
Just
a little change.
Gallery is wondering about Dakar. Peanut Gallery is wondering about, Andy, got any thoughts on going to Dakar? America would love to see you down there, just as a casual fan.
There's been some talks and some rumblings about that. I was bummed to see what happened to Bryce this year. That kind of let the wind out of my sail a little bit. Getting super stoked on it, but I just goes to show you that's a really tough race. Ultimate test of man and machine, 14 days. That's a big boys race over there, man. Those guys are gnarly. They are gnarly. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the future holds. I'm still somewhat young. I'm in my 30s now, but we got a long way to go, and we'll see if we make it down there or not.
Right on. I'll just tell you straight up, one of my hopes is to get to Dakar before I'm done racing. So
absolutely. I think it's on everyone's bucket list for sure. That's the ultimate. It's like a Baja 500, half of Baja 1000. Every day. Between the pavement sections and the special stages. I've been following it, for the last 15 years since I was, a teenager, and, always wanted to do it. It's just the right opportunity has to come at the right time with the right people, and the stars have to align, just like a lot of this stuff, it's just all about timing and relationships. So when the time comes, we'll be there, and we'll see if we want to go and do it.
Right on. Thanks for all the insight. Thanks for the troubling question back there, Nimrod. Thanks to everybody for signing on to Fishgistics.
Thanks,
Andy,
guys.
Thanks for the time. Much respect, and have a great race. Be safe.
Appreciate you guys.
Cheers.
Have a good one.